Santa Fe is basking under a clear midday sky, a crisp 51 degrees, with a gentle breeze rattling the old adobe corners. This city clings to the foothills of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, and you can almost feel how its dry air and dramatic shifts in temperature have shaped traditions here for over 4 centuries. As the oldest state capital in the country, Santa Fe's story begins in 1610, when Spanish settlers built the iconic Palace of the Governors. This public building, constructed from thick adobe walls, is still standing, the oldest continuously occupied building of its kind in the United States, and forms one side of the historic Santa Fe Plaza, the city's beating heart since colonial times. The plaza has hosted everything from suffrage rallies to Native American art markets, with daily displays by local artisans just steps from centuries-old facades. Art pulses through Santa Fe's veins. Canyon Road beckons with over 100 galleries, ranging from Native American pottery to contemporary installations, a testament to why this town routinely draws artists and collectors from across the globe. The Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, along with the wildly inventive Meow Wolf Art Collective, continues to push creative boundaries each season. A stroll past the city's mission churches offers glimpses into Santa Fe's hybrid soul. San Miguel Chapel, often called the oldest church in America, still hosts services, while the Loretto Chapel wows visitors with its so-called miraculous staircase, an architectural mystery that has sparked rumors and legends for decades. New Mexican cuisine was born in these hills, too. Classic dishes like blue corn enchiladas and green chili stew fill local menus, and for those in the know, a breakfast burrito with chili is a rite of passage. Nearby, Bandelier National Monument preserves cliffside dwellings carved by ancestral Puebloans over 1,000 years ago, showing just how deep Santa Fe's roots really run. And for a touch of quirky, local lore claims the city's adobe buildings must be maintained by tradition. Chipped plaster is quickly patched up, ensuring that Santa Fe's historic face never truly ages. San Felipe Pueblo is truly a unique spot in New Mexico, tucked at the foot of the sacred Black Mesa near the Rio Grande's winding floodplain. This community has a deep-rooted history, stretching back to ancient times. The residents, known as Catishtia in their own Carasan language, are among the most culturally conservative of the Caras peoples, still preserving a strict matrilineal clan system and ensuring their language flourishes. The current pueblo was established in the early 1700s after periods of upheaval, including the famous Pueblo Revolt and the Spanish Reconquest. The architecture here is a fascinating blend of native and Spanish colonial designs. Homes are low, rectangular adobe blocks clustered tightly around a rectangular, slightly sunken central plaza. Unlike many neighboring pueblos with multi-story, tiered dwellings, San Felipe's housing is more uniform, and the plaza itself aligns with the four sacred directions. Each corner is painted in kerosene ceremonial colors: yellow, blue, red, and white, reflecting deep spiritual ties to place and tradition. A real highlight is their annual celebration on May 1st, the feast day of San Felipe. Hundreds of residents fill the plaza for the renowned green corn dance, their feet wearing down the plaza's earth into a bowl by the day's end. The dances are legendary, colorful, deeply moving, and accompanied by processions of the patron saint's statue. Visitors may catch glimpses of traditional arts, crafts, jewelry, and delicious foods during community events, though the pueblo is closed to outsiders except on select feast days. Economically, San Felipe maintains its roots in agriculture and pottery, while also operating a tribally owned casino, motorsports track, restaurant, and gift shop. Many residents work locally or in nearby cities. Their respect for tradition shapes daily life. Local children learn dances and kerosene customs from birth, carrying forward centuries-old ways with pride. For those interested in quirky details, during feast days, food and crafts stalls pop up by the historic Mission Church. Unlike most places, the bell is rarely used to summon worshippers. Instead, a pregonero walks house to house, beating a drum and calling everyone to Mass the old-fashioned way. Well, this is a quiet stretch, no landmarks or names to share. But don't worry, Jolly Senior's got just the thing for times like these. Go ahead, Dad.
All right, I got it. Hi there, Jolly Senior here. Glad to keep you company. You may not realize it, but right now, you're in a very exclusive part of the journey. That's right. Welcome to the VIP section of travel. No lines, no reservations needed, just smooth, effortless movement from one place to the next. Think about it. Every big journey has these hidden moments. The quiet stretches that don't try to impress you but make the whole trip possible. They're like the background musicians in a big concert. Sure, they're not the headliners, but without them the whole thing falls apart. I once heard a saying, the best part of a journey is never in the guidebook. And I'd say that's true. Some of the most underrated travel moments are the ones that don't demand your attention. Just time passing, moving forward exactly as it should. So sit back and enjoy the VIP treatment. No distractions, no decisions, just the luxury of letting the journey do its thing. After all, not everyone gets to experience a moment like this. Though technically they do, but hey, let's not ruin the exclusivity. All right, that wraps up my part for now. Now back to Junior.
Thanks, Dad. San Mateo, nestled at the foot of the majestic Mount Taylor, is a place where history feels close and the landscape tells stories of resilience. The village was founded in the mid-19th century, with families from Cebueta moving west to settle here, braving harsh conditions and the threat of raids. By 1862, the first homes were built, and the community began to take root, sustained by sheep and cattle ranching. The Bacas and Chavezes, prominent ranchers, shaped the early economy and left a legacy of strong Catholic traditions. The Ramon A. Baca Chapel, built for the settlers, remains a quiet testament to their faith. Even today, the chapel stands as a symbol of community, its land protected by a deed that ensured it would always be used for worship. The Penitente Brotherhood once played a vital role here, especially when priests were scarce and lay services filled the spiritual gap. San Mateo's population has hovered around 250 for generations, a testament to its enduring spirit. The village is part of a larger network of Spanish land-grant communities, each with its own rhythm and traditions. The surrounding area is high desert, with dramatic seasonal shifts, hot summers, crisp winters, and springtime wildflowers that paint the landscape. Nearby, Mount Taylor looms as a sacred site, and the San Mateo Mountains offer hiking and solitude. The region's history is woven with stories of ranching, mining, and quiet acts of faith, making San Mateo a place where the past is never far from the present. This part of New Mexico is under broken clouds this early afternoon, with a crisp 48 degrees Fahrenheit and winds rustling through at 16 miles per hour. A weather pattern pretty typical for the region, especially as you get into the cooler months when the air feels invigorating but never too harsh. Blue Water is a small but storied community, defined by its proximity to the life-giving streams that once inspired the name, Agua Azul, Spanish for blue water. People have thrived in this high desert for well over 10,000 years, first as part of ancient pueblos and later as a convergence point for ranchers, railroad workers, and, eventually, uranium miners. That Blue Water Creek, which lent its name to the town, has always been pivotal. Native peoples used its waters for agriculture, and when the railroad and irrigation projects came to the area in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, they reshaped both the land and the local economy. Through the early 1900s, the village saw a remarkable turn from drought-plagued cattle ops to Mormon settlers, first calling the village Mormontown, before adopting the name Blue Water once again. The big shift, though, came in the 1950s when uranium ore was discovered by a local Navajo shepherd, setting off a mining boom that brought prosperity, if fleeting, and left a legacy still visible in the landscape. For visitors or anyone passing through, Blue Water is perhaps best known today for its proximity to Blue Water Lake State Park. Less than 10 miles away, the park is a haven for anglers, birdwatchers, and those simply wanting a peaceful picnic among pinon and cottonwoods. The historic Route 66 runs close by, echoing an era when roadside trading posts, like the locally founded Bolin Travel Centers, hummed with tourists and travelers seeking a bit of Southwest adventure. Blue Water's story is one of resilience, shaped by water, minerals, and migration. The air here might seem brisk today, but the community's legacy is one of warmth and survival against the odds. Right now, the skies above Kai-Chil-Ta are draped in overcast clouds, with a crisp breeze sweeping across the high desert. The temperature hovers around 43 degrees, a typical chill for this part of New Mexico in the late afternoon. Kai-Chil-Ta is a quiet, unincorporated community nestled in the rugged landscape of McKinley County, about 25 miles southwest of Gallup. Sitting at an elevation of nearly 6,800 feet, it's a place where the air feels thin and the views stretch for miles across the red rock mesas and juniper-studded hills. The community is known by several names: Chichilgitho, Gayazi, Jones Ranch, and Zaydchilta, each reflecting layers of history and language, especially from the Navajo Nation, which surrounds much of the area. Life here moves at a slower pace, shaped by the rhythms of the high desert. The local economy is modest, with many residents connected to ranching, small-scale farming, or working in nearby towns. The area is also a gateway to the Navajo Nation's cultural heartland, where traditions run deep and stories are passed down through generations. Chichilta is not a tourist hotspot, but it offers a genuine sense of place for those seeking solitude and a connection to the land. The surrounding landscape is dotted with ancient petroglyphs, and the community's proximity to the Eastern Navajo Agency means there's always a sense of cultural continuity. One lesser-known fact: the name Chichilta is said to refer to a place where the wind whistles through the rocks, a fitting description for a spot where the breeze is almost always present, rustling through the sagebrush and whispering across the open plains. With the afternoon around Chambers at a crisp 51 degrees Fahrenheit and broken clouds drifting by, you're catching northern Arizona in one of its classic moods: a bit of breeze, cool air, and vast stretches of high desert. Chambers is a modest dot along what was once the bustling Mother Road, Route 66, carrying travelers westward before the rise of the interstates. Its story is tightly woven with the railroad. The town became a water stop in 1883 when the Atlantic and Pacific Railroad needed a solid well in this stretch of desert. It was named for Edward Chambers, a railroad vice president, though, interestingly, a local named Charles Chamber happened to run a trading post here too. Total coincidence. The area's native heritage is profound. Chambers lies within Apache County, a region that today is predominantly Navajo land. Nearly 70% of the county's vast expanse is designated reservation. The Navajos' resilience and history are ever present, from Spanish explorers and conflict, to the forced long walk and eventual return to their homeland in the late 1800s. Even now, the landscape echoes with that legacy. Route 66 brought a whiff of glamour and traffic. In the 1940s, Chambers was a classic roadside stop, with modest motels, gas stations, and cafes. Places like the old White Elephant Lodge. Despite its unassuming look today, there's a real sense of frontier tenacity here. A lesser-known tidbit: the Army once tried out camels as pack animals not far from here in the 1850s, led by Ned Beale. Turns out camels and mules didn't get along at all. And just east, the Painted Desert stretches out in a tapestry of reds and purples, a surreal landscape that draws photographers and fossil hunters alike. On a cool, breezy day, Chambers feels like a quiet place that's seen the sweep of epic journeys, the pulse of Route 66, and the enduring rhythms of Navajo country. You know, Sun Valley sits right in the heart of Navajo County, and it's one of those places where you really feel the weight of Arizona's geological history. We're talking about a landscape shaped over millions of years. The valley itself was once a lowland basin before wind and water carved out the dramatic formations you see today. This area is absolutely inseparable from Route 66. Back in the early 20th century, this corridor became vital to travelers heading west, and you can still see the fingerprints of that era. The Painted Desert Inn, built in 1920 from petrified wood, stands as a National Historic Landmark. It's had quite a journey, nearly demolished in the mid-70s, but a public campaign saved it. Now it's a museum showcasing restored murals by Hopi artist Fred Cabote. There's something touching about a building that refused to disappear. The real draw, though, is what surrounds Sun Valley. Monument Valley lies nearby, and it's genuinely one of the most photographed landscapes on Earth. Those sandstone buttes tower 400 to 1,000 feet high, and they're not just scenery. They're sacred to the Navajo Nation. The best way to experience them is with a local Navajo guide who can explain the cultural and spiritual significance that outsiders often miss. Within easy reach, you'll also find Canyon de Chelly, another remarkable site with red sandstone walls reaching 1,000 feet and ancient cliff dwellings nestled within. And if you venture slightly further, there's Montezuma Castle, a 5-story cliff dwelling built by the Sinagua people over 800 years ago, remarkable engineering carved directly into limestone. The petrified forest, with its stunning layers of ancient wood and desert color, rounds out what makes this region extraordinary. Sun Valley itself serves as that quiet junction point where history, geology, and Native American heritage all intersect. It's the kind of place that reminds you why people still travel Route 66. Winslow sits basking in the crisp, clear afternoon, just shy of 56 degrees and a gentle breeze carrying a hint of desert freshness. This little city is famed not just for its charming climate, but for standing at several crossroads of American history and myth. Winslow is forever linked to the lore of Route 66 and immortalized in that classic Eagles song. Yes, there really is a "Standin' on the Corner Park," replete with mural and statue. If you're curious about the railways, Winslow owes much to the Santa Fe Railroad, which brought Victorian cottages, commerce, and a global traveler's spirit. The La Posada Hotel reigns as the architectural centerpiece, a restored gem from 1929, built by renowned architect Mary Jane Coulter, filled with art and period furnishings. Its Turquoise Room restaurant isn't just a local favorite, it draws foodies from across the region for Southwest cuisine. Across the way, the Old Trails Museum narrates Winslow's unique blend of native, railroad, and Route 66 histories, featuring Harvey House memorabilia and antique railroad equipment. Winslow borders the Hopi and Navajo nations, making it a great jump-off to explore the Homolovi State Park, just outside town, where ancient Pueblo ruins and petroglyphs hint at centuries of human habitation. For a more mysterious stop, there's the Apache Death Cave. Its chilling lore from the late 1800s has fascinated visitors for decades. Here's a quirky bit. Winslow hosts the largest hand-spun Navajo rug anywhere, hiding in the Affilt Mion Museum at La Posada. Just east of town, Rock Art Ranch boasts petroglyphs etched millennia ago across Red Canyon walls, an outdoor gallery older than most civilizations. Whether it's the pastel hues of Victorian cottages, the echo of a train passing through, or stories woven into silver and turquoise, Winslow's tapestry is a colorful chapter of the Southwest, best explored with a camera, a sense of wonder, and, today, a cozy jacket. Looks like we're in one of those quiet spots, which makes it the perfect time for Jolly Senior to keep us company. Take it away, Dad.
Okay, got it. Hello there, Jolly Senior here, keeping things going. Now this is one of those stretches of the world that just lets you pass through. No distractions, no detours, just steady movement from one place to the next. If there were a hall of fame for locations that keep travel running smoothly, this one would definitely make the list. Not every part of a journey comes with a big introduction. Some places exist purely to connect everything else together, whether it's miles of open water, endless sky, or a quiet stretch of land with no signs in sight. These are the unsung heroes of travel, the spaces that don't make the headlines but make everything possible. I always think about the first travelers who crossed vast distances by sea, land, or air, navigating through places just like this, trusting that as long as they kept moving, they'd reach exactly where they needed to go. No road signs, no mile markers, just the steady rhythm of progress. That's exactly what's happening here. So here's to the places that don't ask for attention, but keep the world moving. Nothing to do now but sit back, take it in, and let the journey keep unfolding. All right, that wraps up my part for now. Now back to Junior.
Thanks, Dad. This afternoon in Sedona, it's a crisp 52 degrees with overcast skies, a fitting backdrop for the mystical Red Rock country that's captivated visitors for generations. Sedona sits amid towering sandstone formations, like Cathedral Rock and Bell Rock, that blaze vivid orange and red especially at sunrise and sunset. These rocks aren't just scenic, they're regarded by some as energy vortexes, attracting spiritual seekers, artists, and adventurers alike. The city's roots stretch back to early Native American cliff dwellings, like those at Pulaski, where the Sinagua people left their mark centuries ago. Today, Sedona balances its heritage with a lively art scene. Browse Tlaquepaque Arts and Shopping Village for everything from fine art to handmade jewelry, all in Spanish-style courtyards. Uptown Sedona is lined with quirky shops and restaurants, perfect for an afternoon of people watching or sampling southwestern favorites like prickly pear ice cream. Don't miss the Chapel of the Holy Cross, an extraordinary feat of architecture built right into the rock itself, offering sweeping views and a tranquil space for reflection. For the outdoorsy, hikes to Devil's Bridge or along Oak Creek promise solitude and jaw-dropping vistas. The town is also known for its devotion to wellness, with spas ranging from luxury resorts to quietly zen, mom-and-pop Reiki studios. Sedona's weather shifts dramatically with the seasons. Expect mild winters like today's, blazing hot summers, and springs when wildflowers light up the high desert. A quirky bit of trivia: Sedona has roughly 24 official historic landmarks, from old ranches to ranger stations, echoing its days as a farming outpost. All of it set beneath those famous, ever-changing skies that seem to make every day a new painting. Chino Valley may look like a quiet, grassy sweep in north. You're flying over one of Arizona's most historically significant corners, and it might surprise you how much happened in this quiet valley. Chino Valley earned its name back in 1854 when U.S. Army Cavalry Lieutenant Amiel Whipple rode through and noticed the abundant gama grass, chino in Spanish, carpeting the landscape. That grassland became the valley's first major asset, harvested as hay to feed the cavalry and early settlers. But here's what really sets this place apart. Chino Valley briefly served as Arizona's very first territorial capital. In 1863, when Arizona officially became a territory, the government was established at Del Rio Springs, just north of town. For a few months in early 1864, territorial leaders operated from tents and log cabins before relocating the capital to Prescott. Those early officials chose the spot deliberately: good water, timber, and game in abundance. The Verde River, which they called Del Rio, still flows through the area. What followed was a long farming and ranching heritage that remains central to the valley's identity today. When the railroad arrived in 1887, it transformed things again. Jerome Junction became a thriving hub, transferring freight between narrow-gauge lines from the nearby mining town of Jerome and the Santa Fe Standard Gauge Railroad. The Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe later partnered with the Fred Harvey organization to operate farms here, supplying their famous railway restaurants with milk, eggs, and produce. There's one quirky chapter most people forget: the Chino Valley oil boom of 1916 to 1918. Oil seeps had been spotted as early as 1899, but it wasn't until prospectors like Joseph Heslett and Colonel Fred Bowler arrived that things got interesting. Newspapers filled with stock advertisements promising millionaires, derricks dotted the rolling hills, and companies made grand claims about Arizona's next great oil field. It never materialized. Today all that remains are a handful of rusted wellheads near Paulden as monuments to that hopeful era. The town today, incorporated in 1970, has grown to around 13,000 residents, many drawn by that same rural character that attracted settlers over a century ago. It's a place where history didn't just happen, it shaped the entire territorial identity of Arizona. Baghdad, nestled in the rugged west of Yavapai County, is a town shaped by copper and resilience. The first copper claims here were staked in the early 1880s, and the Baghdad copper mine quickly became the heart of the community. For decades, it operated as an underground mine before shifting to open pit in 1945, making it one of Arizona's last major porphyry copper deposits developed without a big mining company backing. The mine's story is one of perseverance. Families like the Kellises arrived during tough times, starting over with little more than a sack of flour and beans, and found their footing in the dusty rhythms of mining life. The town itself first appeared on the U.S. Census in 1930 as a precinct with a Spanish-Hispanic majority, reflecting the diverse roots of Arizona's mining country. Over the years, Baghdad's fortunes have risen and fallen with the price of copper, but the community has held on, adapting to changes in the industry and the region. Weather here is typical of the Arizona high desert, hot summers, cool winters, and a landscape that's equal parts rugged beauty and industrial grit. The surrounding area offers a mix of mining relics, ranching history, and wide open spaces, with nearby attractions like the historic Kellis Ranch and the remnants of old mining camps. One lesser-known detail: the town's name has nothing to do with the Iraqi city. It's said to have been chosen by a homesick miner who missed the Middle Eastern tales of his youth. Baghdad's story is one of grit, reinvention, and the enduring pull of the land. Nestled in the wide expanse of Mojave County, Arizona, Greenwood is a little-known gem that whispers tales of the old American West. Originally a mining town, Greenwood thrived during the late 19th and early 20th centuries as silver and copper lured prospectors by the droves. Although the mining booms have long since faded, the echoes of those bustling days still resonate. Greenwood's charming remnants of its past, including old mining structures and quaint settlements, offer a unique window into the pioneering spirit that once fueled the region. Imagine the resilient miners and their families who transformed this rugged landscape into a spirited community amidst Arizona's stark beauty. Today, the area is a quiet retreat surrounded by the natural allure of the desert. With its close proximity to the awe-inspiring Grand Canyon and the stunning Hualapai Mountains, Greenwood provides a serene base for exploring some of the natural marvels of Arizona. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, you'll appreciate the hiking trails and camping opportunities nearby, offering spectacular views and the rare chance to connect with unspoiled nature. Despite its quietude, Greenwood is part of a region rich in diverse wildlife and striking geology, ideal for those with an adventurous spirit eager to explore off the beaten path. The warm, arid climate with mild winters makes for inviting visitation year-round, particularly if you're escaping colder temperatures elsewhere. For those drawn to history and nature alike, Greenwood whispers the quiet resonance of Arizona's mining past combined with the present joy of serene landscapes and inviting wilderness. It's a place of reflection, perfect for those days when you long for the simple, rugged beauty only the American West can offer. Today's crisp, clear afternoon, just over 70 degrees and bright with Arizona's sun, is the kind of weather Lake Havasu City is famous for. Local lore claims the region averages more than 300 sunny days a year, drawing thousands from colder climates each winter in search of warmth and blue skies. What makes this place genuinely stand out, though, is its whimsical claim to international fame: the historic London Bridge. Yes, the very stone bridge that spanned the Thames in London during the 19th century was painstakingly shipped here, block by block, in the late 1960s. Business magnate Robert McCulloch bought it as a marketing stunt to attract attention and residents, and it worked. Today's bridge, reconstructed over the Bridgewater Channel, is Arizona's second most visited attraction after the Grand Canyon, with visitors coming from all over the world to walk its arches and peer at peculiar wartime graffiti still etched in the stones. Lake Havasu City itself didn't exist until 1963. Before that, it was nothing but desert near the shore of a newly formed reservoir, created after Parker Dam tamed the Colorado River. The city's birth involved flying in thousands of land buyers from colder northern cities, enticing them not only with lakefront property but with legendary sunshine. Beyond the bridge, The waterfront is dotted with miniature lighthouses, each modeled after famous American beacons. The town celebrates its offbeat charm with annual events like desert stormboat races, a world jet ski finals, and an exuberant balloon festival that fills the skies each winter. There's even a Havasu Memorial Walkway, paved with commemorative bricks for local veterans. If you fancy wildlife and desert hikes, nearby refuges host all manner of birds and the occasional bighorn sheep. For food, expect loads of ice cream shops clustered near the water, perfect after wandering the lakeside village. And here's a fun bit of trivia. The city boasts the most lighthouses per capita of anywhere in the West, though nary a sailor in sight. Looks like we're passing through one of those nameless stretches, but that just means it's a great moment for Jolly Senior to share some wisdom. Take it away, Dad.
I'm on it, son. Hello, name's Jolly Senior. Happy to be here with you. You may not realize it, but right now, you're in a very exclusive part of the journey. That's right. Welcome to the VIP section of travel. No lines, no reservations needed, just smooth, effortless movement from one place to the next. Think about it. Every big journey has these hidden moments. The quiet stretches that don't try to impress you but make the whole trip possible. They're like the background musicians in a big concert. Sure, they're not the headliners, but without them the whole thing falls apart. I once heard a saying, the best part of a journey is never in the guidebook. And I'd say that's true. Some of the most underrated travel moments are the ones that don't demand your attention. Just time passing, moving forward exactly as it should. So sit back and enjoy the VIP treatment. No distractions, no decisions, just the luxury of letting the journey do its thing. After all, not everyone gets to experience a moment like this. Though technically they do, but hey, let's not ruin the exclusivity. You ever notice how some places love to take credit? Big cities, famous landmarks, even tiny roadside diners with world's best coffee signs. But then there are places like this, the quiet, hard-working parts of the world that don't need a spotlight to do their job. This is the kind of place that keeps everything moving without asking for attention. It doesn't make postcards, but without it, the journey wouldn't work. And let's be honest, sometimes these stretches are the best part. No schedules to check, no decisions to make, just a moment to sit back and let things happen exactly as they should. I always think about how travel has evolved, how people once spent weeks, even months, crossing distances that now take hours. And yet, no matter how much changes, every trip still has stretches like this. The quiet in-between moments, the ones that make the whole journey possible. So, here's to the unsung heroes of travel, the places that don't try to impress you, but still get the job done. No need to rush, no need to overthink, just keep moving and everything else will fall into place. All right, I've done my bit. Time to hand things back to Junior for the next update.
Thank you, Dad. 29 Palms is a place where the desert tells stories of ancient tribes, gold miners, and pioneers who carved out a life in the Mojave. The name itself is a legend. Local lore says that 29 palm trees once stood around the oasis of Mara, a spring that drew the Serrano, Chemehuevi, and Cahuilla peoples for centuries. When Colonel Henry Washington surveyed the area in 1855, he found Native Americans living near this life-giving water, and the oasis became a crucial stop for prospectors heading deeper into the desert. Gold mining boomed in the 1870s, with the town's early economy built on hauling supplies to remote mining districts. After the mines faded, homesteaders arrived, claiming 160-acre parcels and shaping the town's scattered layout. The original schoolhouse, built by volunteers in 1927, still stands as a museum, a testament to the community's self-reliance. Architecture here is distinctive. Many homes and buildings from the 1930s and 40s are made of adobe, using local clay and even tailings from old mines. The Little Church of the Desert and Blessed Sacrament Catholic Church are enduring landmarks, built by locals who pooled their resources and skills. 29 Palms is best known today as the northern gateway to Joshua Tree National Park, a vast landscape of twisted trees, boulders, and wildlife. The town also hosts the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center, the largest marine training base in the world, which brings a steady military presence. The climate is classic desert, hot summers, cool winters, and clear skies most of the year. Locals often gather at the art gallery housed in an old adobe, or visit quirky roadside signs like "The End of the World." One lesser-known tradition: Serrano families once planted a palm tree for every boy born, a custom that may have inspired the town's name. Yucca Valley sits at around 3,200 feet above sea level in the Little San Bernardino Mountains, right where the Mojave High Desert meets dramatic mountain backdrops. This corner of California's desert has always been a bit of a crossroads, first for the Serrano and Chemehuevi, who used the valley as a seasonal passage, and later as a stopover for cattle drives moving herds to higher pastures or the railroad at Victorville. The first well here was dug in 1878 at what's now the local airport, a real lifeline in this thirsty landscape. For much of the 20th century, Yucca Valley was known as Lone Star, after the Lone Star Ranch served as a way station on the old road between Arizona and the pass to the coast. In the years after World War I, veterans with damaged lungs came for the clean, dry air, followed by waves of homesteaders snapping up federal parcel land under the Small Tract Act of 1938. The town's first real growth came post-war. Los Angeles society types discovered its desert quiet, and subdivisions sprung up, fed by a patchwork of community water companies, eventually merged into a single district by the 1980s. Today, Yucca Valley's old town preserves a bit of that quirky desert soul, with local shops, preserved Joshua trees in parking lots, and businesses run by longtime residents, plus the occasional odd desert sculpture or shade tree mechanic. Every spring, the town throws Grub Steak Days, a week-long nod to its cowboy and mining history, complete with rodeos and Pony Express reenactments. Housing here was once famously affordable, but, like much of California, prices have climbed as newcomers discover its proximity to Joshua Tree National Park, just a short drive away. Winters are crisp and can even bring dustings of snow, while summers sizzle under deep blue desert skies. If you're lucky, you might hear locals talking about how, out here, you can still spot the Milky Way on a clear night and catch that mix of old miner's grit and new desert artistry. Oak Glen is a place where time seems to slow down, nestled in the foothills of the San Bernardino Mountains. For thousands of years, the Cahuilla and Serrano people lived here, drawn by the rich acorn groves and year-round streams. When Spanish soldiers arrived in the 1700s, many were relocated to coastal missions, but the land's bounty never faded. By the mid-1800s, settlers like Enoch Parrish planted the first apple orchards, sparking a legacy that still defines the valley. Today, Oak Glen is famous for its apples, especially the Vasquez and King David varieties, which grow nowhere else. The orchards are a draw for over 300,000 visitors each year, many coming to pick fruit, sip fresh cider, or taste homemade pies. The Los Rios Rancho, established in 1906, remains Southern California's largest historic apple farm, and thanks to conservation efforts, it's protected from development, preserving both its agricultural roots and natural beauty. The area's charm isn't just in its orchards. There's a scenic loop drive winding past cideries, cafes, and camps, with trails leading into the preserve's oak groves and meadows. The Oak Glen Preserve offers hiking, wildlife spotting, and a children's discovery center, while the Old Parish Pioneer Ranch lets visitors meet alpacas and miniature horses. Seasons here are distinct. Crisp autumns for apple picking, mild springs for wildflowers, and snowy winters that dust the hills. Community events, like the Colonial Fair at Riley's Farm, bring history to life with reenactments and crafts. And if you stay at the historic Stone Oak Manor, you're sleeping in a house built by an oil fortune, where the Bowman family once hosted July 4th picnics for the whole town. Oak Glen feels like a living storybook, where every orchard and trail has a tale to tell. Riverside in Riverside County is a place where California's citrus story comes alive. They call it the City of Arts and Innovation, but its roots go deep into orange groves and sun-soaked ranch land. The California Citrus State Historic Park is genuinely worth a visit. Its living history with ranger-led tours where you can taste oranges, lemons, limes, and grapefruit grown on site, a tribute to the citrus gold rush that shaped the entire region's economy. Up and down the streets, you still spot manicured orange trees lining downtown, nodding at that legacy. If you're drawn to architecture or legends, the Mission Inn Hotel and Spa is a marvel. It boasts the largest Mission Revival-style building in the United States, complete with stained glass windows, flying buttresses, and museum-quality antiques. Presidents, film stars, and even royalty have stayed here. Its block-long facade and quirky circular staircase are just the tip of a very ornate iceberg. Riverside is overflowing with historic sites, more than 24 on the National Register and over 100 city landmarks. Take the downtown walking tour. You'll see Victorian homes, the ornate Riverside County Historic Courthouse, and even a beautifully designed Chinese pavilion, built to honor early Chinese settlers who contributed to local agriculture and commerce. The city's pedestrian mall is studded with statues, clocks, and buildings that connect you straight to its past. It's usually balmy here, with sunshine most days and winters mild enough Chinese for settlers or hikes up Mount Rubidoux, a local favorite for panoramic views and spiritual sunrise services. Did you know Riverside hosted Southern California's first polo field and golf course? And here's a fun fact. The Mission Inn's chapel boasts a gold altar imported from Mexico, not something you'd expect in an old hotel. Nearby, you can explore museums like the UCR California Museum of Photography or hunt for petroglyphs carved by Luiseno Indians just outside town. Riverside blends Old West tales, citrus barren nostalgia, and eclectic cultural moments all under that bright Inland Empire sky. Walnut, nestled in the rolling hills of eastern Los Angeles County, enjoys cool, overcast afternoons like today, around 64 degrees Fahrenheit, a touch of humidity, and a gentle breeze. This suburban city, with a population near 27,000, is renowned for its serene neighborhoods and enviable quality of life, which was even recognized by Money magazine when they named it among America's best places to live. Its roots stretch back to the indigenous Tongva people and later to Spanish missionaries, who grazed sheep and cattle across the land in the 18th century. The area later became a patchwork of ranchos during the Mexican era, with agriculture, especially walnuts, wheat, and citrus, playing a central role in its development. The city's name itself is a tribute to the native California black walnut trees that thrive in the San Jose Hills, and, as a quirky fact, the original post office here was called Lemon, but residents wisely opted for Walnut after tiresome jokes about lemons and reliability. Modern Walnut blends these historic foundations with an upscale, small-town feel. Most homes are owner-occupied, set along tree-lined streets with access to excellent schools, some of the highest ranked in California, and a collection of well-kept parks like Lemon Creek and Snow Creek. The city is an outdoor lover's haven. There are around 30 miles of hiking trails, inviting quick escapes to catch fresh air and peaceful views. Demographically, Walnut is notable for its diversity, with a significant and vibrant Asian community making up over 2/3 of the population, reflected in everything from family-run shops to community celebrations. Thanks to a commuter rail line nearby, the cultural energy and career prospects of downtown Los Angeles are conveniently close without sacrificing Walnut's tranquil charm. And if you fancy a change of scenery, the San Jose Hills offer spectacular wildflower displays each spring, turning the city's borders into a blanket of color. Over Los Angeles today, with a cool 65 degrees, thick clouds, and a hint of rain blowing in, you can feel what makes this city so full of contrast and energy. Los Angeles is famed for its ever-shifting weather, sunny days interrupted by sudden moody overcasts, which only adds to the cinematic atmosphere the city is known for. Founded back in 1781 as El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles, the city grew from a Spanish colonial outpost to the world's entertainment capital. That transformation left its mark everywhere, from Old Town's Olvera Street with its lively Mexican market stalls to sleek modern icons like the Walt Disney Concert Hall, designed by Frank Gehry's swooping steel. LA's skyline itself is a patchwork of eras and ambitions. Movies and music pulse through the city's veins. The Hollywood sign, Griffith Observatory, Walk of Fame, and TCL Chinese Theater tie countless legends and dreams to its hills and neighborhoods. On a rare rainy afternoon, the Getty Center offers panoramic views and world-class art, while kids persistently tug parents toward the roller coaster lights of Santa Monica Pier or Universal Studios. Food here is a global adventure. Street tacos, Korean barbecue, Japanese ramen, vegan burgers. It's all at your fingertips, thanks to LA's status as a crossroads for cultures around the planet. Los Angeles is also surprisingly green. Griffith Park is one of the country's largest city parks, home to coyotes, hidden trails, and the remarkable Greek theater. And if you wander Venice Beach, you'll find street performers and skaters, but also stumble across the quirky Venice canals, built to replicate Italy's waterways over a century ago. A fun quirk: it's technically illegal to lick a toad in LA, a throwback to concerns about toads with hallucinogenic properties. Only in a place as eclectic as this would laws like that exist, tucked in among the movie premieres and beach boardwalks. Torrance sits quietly in the South Bay, but its roots stretch deep into California's early days, a city thoughtfully planned in 1912 by none other than Frederick Law Olmsted Jr., famed for his work on Central Park. The area originally belonged to the sprawling Rancho San Pedro estate, granted to Juan Dominguez by the Spanish crown, layering the land with a patchwork of historic ranchos that shaped much of Southern California's development. Industry played a starring role in Torrance's growth. It was designed as a model industrial suburb, with brick workers' cottages and minimal ornamentation, blending planned green spaces and tidy boulevards. The legacy of its red car, Pacific Electric Railway Station and the distinctive Southern Pacific Railroad Bridge survives as testimony to the city's ambition as a modern hub. The Torrance High School campus, often featured in film and television, notably Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is not only an architectural landmark but the city's first entry on the National Register of Historic Places. Culturally, Torrance relishes quieter fame. The rocketship park's restored play structure has been the backdrop for countless childhood adventures since the 1960s, and Miramar Park whispers of the old Hollywood Riviera Beach Club era. For sports fans, the Toyota Sports Complex and Zamperini Stadium, honoring legendary local aviator Louis Zamperini, are centerpieces. Dining here reveals a robust Japanese and Korean influence, a legacy of post-war immigration and Torrance's proximity to Toyota's former North American headquarters. Even the weather is notably inviting, mild, with ocean breezes keeping summers cool and winters gentle. A quirky detail: there's an alpine village, built in the spirit of a Bavarian hamlet, complete with Oktoberfest, that became such a local fixture in the late 20th century it's now a protected landmark, though its future has recently been uncertain. Torrance lives at that lucky crossroads of sun, story, industry, and surprising little secrets. Los Angeles dances between myth and reality unlike any city in America. At its heart is a tapestry woven from Hollywood glamour and a complex, multicultural history. Century-old movie palaces, like the TCL Chinese Theater, continue to draw crowds with famous handprints in the forecourt, while the Walk of Fame immortalizes generations of stardom right under your feet. Yet La's story runs far deeper than red carpets. Local history is celebrated on Olvera Street, a lively block recalling the city's Mexican roots, with vendors selling taquitos and Mexican-style sweets just footsteps from Union Station's soaring 1930s architecture. Take a short ride up to Griffith Observatory for sweeping city views and a glimpse through powerful telescopes, astronomy and Hollywood history crossing paths in the park where James Dean filmed Rebel Without a Cause. Nearby, the Hollywood sign presides over rolling hills, an iconic white landmark originally built as an advertisement for a real estate development. The city is a paradise for the curious palate, from taco trucks serving legendary carne asada to clusters of Korean barbecue joints, Japanese ramen shops, and Persian bakeries, reflecting the enormous diversity living side by side. The food truck culture is a thing unto itself, with some Angelenos swearing by their lunchtime loyalties. Expect sunshine almost year-round, though winter can bring moody skies and brief, refreshing rains. The beaches like Santa Monica and Venice, famed for their quirky boardwalk performers, frame the coast with classic West Coast sunsets, equally beloved by locals and visitors. A little-known detail: the mysterious La Brea tar pits in the heart of urban LA still bubble with ancient fossils, a reminder that this metropolis sits atop Ice Age secrets as much as modern dreams. And if you love oddities, keep an eye out for the donut-shaped roofs over decades-old drive-through shops, a hallmark of LA's quirky take on roadside architecture. Drifting above Los Angeles this early afternoon, you can see how the whole city seems to hum beneath an overcast sky. 63 degrees Fahrenheit, moisture heavy in the air, and winds whisking away the drizzle poised to arrive over the next hour. Below, Los Angeles stands as a vast economic powerhouse, driven by an impressive mix of industries that truly shape its world-famous character. The heart of LA's economy is entertainment, with Hollywood studios and streaming giants like Warner Brothers, Disney, and Netflix anchoring the creative spirit that draws talent from every corner of the globe. Technology is woven into the city's fabric as well, especially in Silicon Beach, Santa Monica, Venice, and Playa Vista, where startups rub shoulders with industry leaders and venture capital fuels innovation in software, biotech, and clean tech. Aerospace and defense have deep roots here, thanks to major players like Northrop Grumman, Boeing, and SpaceX, which keep the region at the forefront of aviation, space, and national security. Manufacturing is still strong, evolving toward advanced automation and sustainability, while trade, logistics, fashion, and tourism round out the diverse economic scene. Home styles in LA are as eclectic as the neighborhoods themselves. You'll find classic mid-century ranch homes, contemporary glass and steel condos downtown, quirky Spanish revivals in residential stretches, and iconic craftsman bungalows shaded by palm trees. Apartment living is common near business hubs, and hillside neighborhoods feature unique architectural touches. Think colorful murals, lush gardens, and sometimes daring cantilevered designs. Real estate here often feels like a roller coaster. While home prices and rents remain high by national standards thanks to demand and limited space, there's significant energy in urban development. Large revitalization projects, especially downtown and for the upcoming 2028 Olympics, promise new housing, transit upgrades, and refreshed public spaces. Affordability is an ongoing challenge, with most locals spending a substantial portion of income on housing, but new construction and green initiatives aim to ease some pressure. Los Angeles is constantly reinventing itself, even on days when the sky matches the mood, overcast, but always buzzing with possibility.